There are three amazing prophecies that God gave to the prophet Ezekiel 2,600 years ago about the nation of Israel. I'm sure that you know that as of 64 years ago, there was no Jewish state. The nation of Israel didn't exist. In fact, 2,600 years ago, or 600 years before Christ lived, Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem, plundered the city, and burned the walls in the Jewish temple to the ground. Then he took the Jewish people into captivity in Babylon. And at that time, Israel ceased to be an independent nation. After the Jewish people were taken into captivity, God made them this promise through the prophet Ezekiel. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Behold, I will gather the sons of Israel from among the nations where they have gone. Do you realize that the Jewish people have been gathered to Israel from 108 nations of the world? And then God said, I will bring them into their own land. This is a specific place, the land of Israel. And finally God said, I will make them one nation in that land, on the mountains of Israel. Now there can be no doubt that for 2,600 years, the Jewish people did not exist as a nation. But on May 14th, 1948, Israel once again became a nation when David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the Jewish state of Israel. Now, Dr. Jimmy DeYoung and I traveled to Israel to see Independence Hall, where this prophecy was fulfilled. And I want you to watch this clip. Jimmy and I traveled to Tel Aviv, to Independence Hall, where it all started when David Ben-Gurion read the Declaration of Independence on May 14, 1948, and the modern state of Israel was born. Jimmy, this is a very important building for Israel.
It certainly is. We stepped off of modern-day streets of Tel Aviv back 60 years ago to Independence Hall, where it all began, the monument to the fulfillment of prophecy. Notice the prophetic passage there, Isaiah 35:1. The desert shall bloom and blossom like a rose. This was the view from David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel's home. He was able to look at the desert, and then this mural represents the peoples that have been coming from all over the world, four corners of the earth. Notice Jeremiah 31:8, I shall gather them in from all over the world. And then chapter 31 continues to say, they'll come into a land I'm going to give them. In verse 23 of Jeremiah 31, it says, I'll restore their language, a language dead for 2,000 years. The Hebrew language restored to the people of Israel. 108 nations of the world, the people have come here. Down here is Independence Hall, where actually the announcement was made.
Going into Independence Hall, we were met by lecturer Isaac Dror, who told us this building was a historic building because Israel was born here. It was one of the greatest moments in the history of the Jewish people as our leaders announced to the world the new state, the modern-day state of Israel.
This is the Hall of Independence. This is where Israel was born 60 years ago. Let me show you the stage where it all happened. You see, this is where Ben-Gurion and his government was sitting. This is his chair. And you can see the microphones and even the gavel that he used to declare independence. At 4 p.m. exactly, Israel was born. Now, it was a Friday, and it was very important to start on time because the Shabbat was coming in, and you do not want to desecrate the Shabbat. The Egyptians are about to blitz the city. And this is why everything must start and be finished before the Shabbat. So at 4 p.m. exactly, the ceremony begins. Ben-Gurion pick up this gavel and rap 3 times on the table. 3 raps. It will change, to my opinion, the history of the world and the fate of millions of people. What happened here, to my understanding, is as if the Jews opened the Bible and added another chapter to it. This is how I see it anyhow, and how Jews, people who sat here, saw it.
You were attacked by what, 6 different fronts?
Well, 7 Arab armies participated in different numbers.
Just a few hours after you did this.
A few hours after Ben-Gurion actually signed the document of independence. The Egyptians blitzed the city, and you have like 7 Arab armies in a range of 40 miles from this point.
40 miles from
40 miles from here. It is all over in a way. British officers wrote home, that's it. It's a matter of hours and the Jews will be thrown into the sea. General George Marshall commented, well, the Secretary of State, he commented, the old man, talking about Ben-Gurion,
Yes.
the old man lost it. He's leading his people into a complete annihilation. It is simply impossible. We are talking about a tiny army.
Now, as I understand it, Ben-Gurion had been encouraged not to make the
Well,
announcement.
especially by the Americans.
Yes.
They could not even start to imagine how it is possible that the so few with sticks in their hands can win this. You have to understand the Jewish army was, well,
Didn't
a
exist.
joke. We had 2 Piper Cubs as an Air Force, you know, and we like 40,000 people sharing 10,000 rifles. The top generals of the Israeli army were people like Yitzhak Rabin. You remember Yitzhak Rabin,
Yes, I
the
do.
guy that was assassinated,
Right,
our prime
former
minister,
prime minister.
1990, very good. And the guy was 23 when he became a top general. So if your top generals are 23, what is the age of your troops? And this was the Jewish army, and we faced 7 modern Arab armies. You know what? You can Google it from here to Japan. Read all the books in the world. And I know you guys, you know so much. But I cannot provide a clear explanation to how exactly we survived this one.
Except
Well-
Almighty God watching over his people.
Well, you know, Ben-Gurion said once, if you know the history, the modern history of Israel, if you know the story of Israel and what happened here, and you do not believe in miracles, you are non-realistic. Something is wrong with you. And he was not a man of miracles, Ben-Gurion. Although he knew the Bible by heart, there are some things that you cannot use the logic to explain, like the War of Independence in Israel. The ceremony started at 4. By 4:32, it was all over. 32 minutes that changed the world.